What's up, homeboy?
What's going on, man? Jumping back in.
Oh.
Jumping back in.
Going full send?
Always gotta full send it, man. That's
Always.
that skateboard mentality.
Skateboard.
Yes, sir.
Damn.
You don't know nothing about that.
No, I don't. I tried skateboard one time, last time. First and last.
Oh, I was going to say the
trip.
last time,
the
or
last time.
that
First,
was the last
first
time?
and the last time.
First and last.
I smacked my face so hard, I thought, like, this is it.
100%.
I'm going to meet Jesus.
Yep, I've definitely done that a few handfuls of times.
It's even bringing back the headache. Like
the concussion's coming back.
I smacked a pole going 50. Like, if that's what it felt
oh
like.
my goodness.
No, I was going like 10 miles an hour.
But you did hit a pole?
I hit a pole.
Oh, that's the worst,
I hit a pole, dude. Like, forehead smack, square in the middle, nose bleed. I thought I lost my 2 front teeth.
Yeah.
It was bad.
That might have made me quit too. You know, that was my first. I definitely hit a pole for sure.
I didn't know how to stop. That's my thing. Like,
yeah.
I was like, let me hop on this. And it was like in a parking garage. It was in a parking garage. And then, like, like, how do you, like a foundational pole, those little 6-inch steel poles.
That don't move.
And then,
but you moved.
Lost the board, and it was one of those. My feet were like,
oh, bro, no, oh, that's even worse. Were you falling forward too? Ooh, bro, if you would have had that on video, that'd be viral.
I'd be a sensation.
You'd be a sensation, bro. Everybody would know you then.
The skull crusher.
You'd have multiple social media platforms.
I know.
All right, man. We'll get into it. We're going to be bringing my boy Ezra coming in. Ezra Elliot. He's been training with me for a few more years at the MMA Lab. So let's bring him in.
What's up? What's up, big guy? Hey, bring it around this back way. You got to get your buy-in.
Oh, yeah. I almost forgot, too. I almost forgot to buy in.
On this one, because it's over.
That's a lot. Honestly, we had another one end up on that.
Yeah, we did. Uh-oh.
I think it's rigged.
Nope.
Oh, you would get the free high five. The one person that could probably do any of these other things, you know? He's like, man, I was hoping for that arm wrestling.
They didn't want that
from.
Anything wrestling, I'm just trying to wrestle.
I don't know. Those arms over there reminds me of that pole I hit.
Yeah, those things will strangle
I was
you.
going to say, is this guy one of those, if I get smacked in the forehead by this guy, I'd feel like that pole again?
That too. I keep
maybe
telling
not,
him.
but
I keep telling him his striking is definitely coming along. But he's known for choking people out to sleep. You know, that's what he's known for.
That's kind of
his wrestling is too. Like his wrestling is top notch. He was state champion, right? I'll let you tell.
Yeah.
What was your
state champ? What's up?
Yeah. So I'm from Illinois, and in Illinois, it's a pretty big wrestling state. So, when I was a kid, like growing up, I didn't start wrestling until I was like 10. Kind of a late start in Illinois, but my school and stuff is kind of the age, like was the earliest age we could start at the time. So I started when I was 10, wasn't really good or anything, didn't like take it really serious till I hit middle school. We had I had a new coach, and he was willing to help me a lot. And we started wrestling all year round, started, driving, training at other places, traveling 2 hours. A couple days a week just to get the best training and stuff, and he kind of took me under his wing, and after that wrestling kind of became my life for like 10 years almost. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so ended up getting not like great at wrestling or anything, but I ended up getting pretty good, got some skills. So
humility is what tells you, right? Humility. I love that.
Okay. I got rings, I got championships. Yeah.
I won state in one of the best states for wrestling, but it's not
whatever, however you want to digest it.
No, that's dope though. That's dope,
cool, man. Congratulations.
But his wrestling is fantastic as well in the MMA world, because it doesn't always come across that way in MMA. Sometimes you can be a great wrestler and not do very well in MMA as well, because it is slightly different. It's something we talk about regularly. Yeah. Certain things you do are not allowed in MMA, and certain things are really, really really versed in MMA. But not only that, he's also a great striker. He's been coming up. He trains super hard. It's crazy.
That's cool.
Crazy to see him. He's in the gym every day, twice a day, 3 times a day. Wow. Just crazy. He's been really just, for lack of a better term, kicking ass. How old are you two?
23.
23 years old, you know.
Jeez.
So it's kind of awesome. Me and him talk about it regularly. Like, I didn't get into the game. I didn't start training until I was 22 years old. I didn't even step into my first MMA gym until I was 22 years old, and I was still a knucklehead at that point.
Dude, that's crazy to me.
And so now this kid's 23 and he's
focused, honed in, focused, right? And I know it's not easy. Honestly, it's something we talk about regularly. It's not easy to be focused like that, but he is very, very focused on what his plan and what his task is. You know, nothing deters him. He stays on the plan, and it's a tough thing to do at 23. Just a tough thing to do at 33 years old, to do that, 100%. To be on your goal and on your plan and stick to it. You know, so it's really cool and nice for me to see a young man like him really going after his goals. First of all, identifying what his goals are, and then going after his goals with vicious intent, you know, but with pure, I guess I'd say with pure intent, you know, because he's one of the greatest guys at the gym as well, one of the most kind guys, will help anybody, goes with everybody, but also very, very dangerous in any type of position, any battlefield that you put him on. So
tip of the cap, man.
Yeah, that's one question I want to ask. Like, what's got you so zoned in? I know you, like you said, you didn't even start wrestling until later on than most kids would be, and it wasn't something that you completely took serious. But to jump from not taking wrestling serious to now being so focused and so honed in on what your path is, like, what got you there?
Yeah, so I would say what really got me is I went to college to wrestle after high school, right? And when I went to college, I got there and I was just like, this is not for me. Like, from day one, I knew it wasn't for me. I remember just the schooling, you know, I remember there was like an English project or something, right? And we had to write a paper, and I come from a really small town. The academics aren't too hard to get through, you know? And I wasn't a real smart kid or really good at school or anything to begin with, but we got this assignment, and I remember thinking I wrote a good paper. I was like, man, that was my best paper I think I've ever written. And the teacher, I remember she was like my professor was like, Ezra Elliot, can you raise your hand? And I raised my hand. She's like, can you go ahead and stay after class? And in my head, I'm thinking, she's going to say my paper was good, you know? And she goes, how'd you get here? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know. She's like, how'd you get in here? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm in here, you know? I don't know. And she's like, well, I don't know how you got past the 5th grade with your writing.
Oh, wow.
And just starts going in like
she just said it just like that.
Yeah,
hey,
she's like,
man,
that is cold blooded. Instead of okay, keep going. I have a lot to say about that one.
You know, I'm kind of like, fuck. You know, already kind of put me in a bad like mental spot where I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get through this. You know, and she's like, you're gonna do you're gonna go to the writing center, and it wasn't just her. It was like all my classes. All the teachers were kind of like, you're behind. You're not like where you should be. And I just wasn't willing really to put in the work in academically because I was really there to wrestle. So I was like, man, you know, I'm going to just maybe need to take a different path. And I ended up dropping out, and a month later, I started doing jiu-jitsu, and I loved it. I was like, man, I really like jiu-jitsu. This is like, it's just like wrestling, but it's a different enough that, you know, I really had found a passion in it. And at this time, I'm kind of hopping job to job, kind of a floater, just doing this job with some of my buddies, get fired, quit, whatever, you know. Also not the best worker outside. I can really work hard in the room, but I really can't focus as good in a work setting. You know, like, I was doing hard labor jobs, and I was like, fuck, I don't think I'm gonna do this the rest of my life. I go in, and like, just my mentality is always a little different than some of those guys, so those guys were a little old school, and they didn't really like the way I rolled, so I got fired, or I just didn't jive with the rest of the guys. And I knew, I was like, you know what I need to do is I need to just work hard for a few months. I need to save up some money and move out to Phoenix, and I'm gonna fight. So the way I originally knew about the lab was from Tim and Sugar's podcast. So I learned about the lab, and then Trace actually used to coach me in high school a little bit, so he had moved here. I already knew him, so I was like, man, it's kind of perfect. You know, everything kind of stars aligned. So I was like, I'm gonna save up money and I'm gonna go out there.
So did you reach out to Trace first and speak to him as well?
Yeah.
Trace is one of our teammates as well. He's currently not fighting right now, but he was a stud wrestler. I mean, still is a stud wrestler. Dealt with some injuries. I believe that's really kept him back and held him back from being able to achieve his goals like he wants to. But
I got you.
Awesome human being. Still comes to the gym, still teaches at the gym. But yeah, that just to
beautiful.
Put you in on who Trace is.
Yeah, so Trace let me stay with him for a week, and I loved it. I had no striking, had just done jiu-jitsu, And I think I started jiu-jitsu like maybe a year and a half before I moved here. And I was like, man, I need to get out there. So right when I come back, me and my girlfriend, we decided to move. And we've been here ever since. And it's kind of just, I don't have a job. I just teach a little bit, make a little bit of money. Like, I'm 100% on this. I got all my eggs in this basket. I've kind of burned the boats. This is what I'm going to do.
Well, I mean, I can relate to this on a lot of different levels. I guarantee, and especially with the other aspects of life where obviously you went through school, that wasn't the right way, and then, you know, you had those educators or professors that kind of pushed you out, already pushed you the way you wanted to go. Like, you know, the whole job thing, like, you know, you said you were in and out on that. So my biggest thing, I guess, that I'm going to take away and then I can see happening is that where your comfort is, where your level, where you know you're going to put in the most emphasis and the most work and the most time and dedication, you're putting yourself still around successful and the right people. You will develop something outside of the cage in your own time. You know what I'm saying? So no matter what anyone else is going to tell you outside of what you love to do, you'll find it. Trust me.
You'll find your reason for 100%.
It. 100%. Right? It doesn't matter what it is. And having here kind of like the background of the story a little bit and having to kind of like see you and what your thought process is, kind of like what your actions are with, I don't know, you kind of putting your passion first and letting the rest kind of follow. You're going to be a pretty dangerous individual outside of what your passion is as well, because it's going to end up leading you to something that you never thought, something you never saw happen. It's going to be interesting. I'm very interested in this guy's story to see kind of what his life is going to develop into, because I mean, seeing him now, I mean, he went on a limb all the way from, you know, Illinois to here just because of, well, now I'm like obviously polishing your passion with going for the gym, having your wrestling coach who kind of put you onto this, where he took you underneath his wing, and that's legitimately what you took and ran with the most. And so, I mean, kudos to that coach who did that for you. Like, you know, who understood you from that age and kind of what was going to be your driving force. I mean, wherever that coach is, I'm sure that you probably give him a tons of credit, correct? Yeah. You know, I've had one of those coaches myself, and he was just with me while I was back home. And some of the stories that we talked about, like, you know, I had kind of like a rough upbringing, and like I wouldn't get picked up from practice right away. And I'd just be sitting there, and he would sit around and wait, and he's like, you know, what's going on here? I'm like, oh, my mom, she'll show up. You know, and he's like, all right, lace back up, put on your shoulder pads and your helmet, start running laps, or start running the field. He'd had me running suicides on the field. And we developed this connection that's lifelong, you know. And, man, who knows? Maybe that's you, you know. And I just want to say, like, tip of the cap to you, man. Taking a big risk like that young, going to a whole different state, following your dream and passion. Grown men haven't even done that. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty cool. I'm interested to see, what happens and what spins off from there. I guess one of the questions that I want to start with is taking away that strength of yours, that wrestling part, and seeing these guys and, like, you know, like Marcus, I mean, it didn't really have, I guess, the state championship background that you have. What kind of like I guess motivation does that give you when you see a guy like Marcus with his recent successes, and you're like, I need to develop that, I need to learn that, and getting in the gym with these beasts, you know? How are you finding that motivation, or what's kind of striking you that way, you know?
Well, I'd say, like, when I moved here, I got beat up by everyone. I think everyone does when you first get on the team at the lab.
That's a good motivation.
Every single person. Doesn't matter. Everyone. Everybody who you think is tough out there. Anyone. Come to the lab for your first week. You're going to get beat up.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, like, Marcus, even when I got on the team 2 years ago, I mean, Marcus is a stud. He's been a stud the whole time. And I think everyone at the gym's, like, known that Marcus was going to have the success he's had now.
Sure.
Like, it was coming. It's just a matter of time. You know, you just need your opportunity sometimes. But I think he's not the only one. I think there's a lot of guys on the team that I see the same potential of, like, when we get our shot, like, we're gonna make the most of our opportunities, and we're gonna shine. But, you know, like now Marcus is making good money fighting, and he's doing really good for himself. He's in the UFC and he's building his name. he's been in the gym for like 10 years. You know what I mean? He's earned that. It's just, it's like delayed gratification you got to have in this game. It's like right now, I'm broke. I got no money. But I know one day I'm going to have money. It's just like you're laying the groundwork now, and then it'll end up paying like tenfold later.
A patient beast over here, man.
Yeah.
And you're doing it earlier, right? Because again, I've been saying it a lot more, and you hear it in a lot of the speeches I say. It's getting so involved in what you're doing and having so much, for a lack of a better word, so much care for the people that you're doing with that you don't really, that's not the focus. The focus, like, don't get me wrong, you're gonna be in the UFC. We all tell you this all the time, like, you're gonna get all there. But the way to get there is by loving what you're doing and how you're doing it, you know, and really giving your all to it. And that's what you're doing. That's the point you're at right now. And when opportunity comes, you're going to be ready for that opportunity because of how much passion that you've given to this, you know?
Right.
You made the right decisions to do it. And honestly, I say this all the time too, better guys have fallen short as well, because there's always that chance there. But even the falling short is worth it, right?
Yeah.
Because all the passion, everything that you put in has built you to be as strong of a man as you are to this point. To be 23 years old, to have your head on your shoulders where you're at right now, I'm not to say you don't have any issues, right? We all go through our things. You're still facing your own battles constantly, right? But man, like you said, a lot of grown men haven't made a decision on what they want to do and went for it 100-fold, you know, and dropped. And honestly, I say it all the time too. Me getting fired or me getting severed from my cultivation job pushed me off the ledge. I didn't even do it myself, really, you know?
Yeah.
It pushed me off the ledge because I kept playing that teeter-totter game, right? So I still didn't even just make the decision until I got pushed off the ledge. And I make the excuse about, it was easy for me to tell my wife, but at any point I could have just made the decision and just told my wife and been like, hey, you're rocking with me on this, you know? Like, we're going to figure this out, right? But it's like, at the same time, it takes a lot to do that, you know? And I believe that the best way to do that is to do it without the expectation, right? Like, you have the expectation, you know where you're going to go, but that's not what you're focused on. You're not focused on those goals. You're not focused on those outcomes right now.
Yeah.
You're focused on doing what you need to do so that when those times come, the outcome is in your favor, you know?
Yeah.
And you can see it all over you, you know? Like you said, a lot of guys at the gym are the same way. You know, I think it boils down to how it's not about everything in the cage, you know? That's only such a minute part of it. How much time have we spent together in the last 2 years? Yeah. And how much time have we both been in the cage in the last 2 years?
A couple minutes.
You know? In all reality, a couple minutes, probably under 10 minutes. Let's say just fairly under 15 minutes that we've each together been in the cage in the last 2 years.
That's crazy.
And how much time have we spent together, you know?
Yeah.
How much moments have we spent? How many times have we trained together, you know? It's like all of that makes up so much more of the process, and if you can really dial into that, you're going to have better performances when it comes time anyways, you know?
Yeah, I think Jared Cannonier said this, but I thought this was cool, is he said, he's like, my fights, the competition, I don't even really think of as like the big moment. He's like, it's just part of my training. So I train every day, and that's just like the test. It's like the quiz, you know what I mean? It's just like a test, like a school test or whatever. And it's true. You know, it's like, that kind of is what it is. It's just a test. Test your skill set. If it doesn't work out, come back, do it again. You know what I mean? So,
and you were going to have to anyways, right? It doesn't matter. You're still, especially with us, that's a big thing. Coach says, come back Monday. I'm really big on it. You know, I know a lot of the other guys don't necessarily follow that, but for me, I'm with it too, because I like what he says. It shows that you're not done. It shows it shows that you notice that you have more work to do, even in the best performances, right? You have the best performance out there. Show up on Monday. You got work to do. You know what I'm saying? Just because you had that best performance against that guy doesn't mean it's going to be like that every time. So, yeah, man, it's admirable, 100% to say it.
I love that.
What's some of the, just, you know, because again, we all do go through our struggles. Like, what are some of the pivotal moments for you that you've been through in your struggle coming out here that you've had to work through that maybe could help somebody else out there that'd be going through the same thing, especially at a young age, making such a decision like that, you know?
Yeah. So, I think that just originally, like, me and my girlfriend, when we moved, we got this tiny studio apartment, and it's not like either of us come from a lot of money or anything, or we're expecting a lot, but we're just like in like one of the slummiest places. I feel like we're just in like a really shitty apartment, and we're just like, it's fine. Like, and honestly, just being okay with anything. Like, there's just little, like, nothing's big. It's just, you know, how you deal with it. Like, it's little things. Like, my AC's been out in my car for 4 months. Been through the whole summer, just no AC. But it's not like I almost like it more because it doesn't make you expect anything. Because now I get in someone's car and they got AC, I'm like, man, this is nice. You know, I'm not expecting it. I'm just like, okay, this is nice.
I like that.
You got to build a mental toughness on having no AC.
I love it though. I
keep going.
Love it,
yeah. So well, I just say like, it's like anything. Like I feel like, I'm gonna kind of go off on a tangent when I say this, but doing hard things makes you like be able to accept things easier. Like, say you're sparring Marcus and you're gassed, it's your third round and he's just coming in peppering you up and you're getting fucked up. There's just like being able to just like find your breath and just stay in the moment and just locked in and just do your best, like things like that. Or like even like say you're in a cold plunge and you're just able to be present. Wherever you're able to be present, like that's why I think that training and fighting is so good. Like it's kind of like a contradiction, I think, because fighting, you're trying to hurt another person. It's not that good of a thing. Like it's kind of a fucked up thing to do. You're fighting someone for money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of like, and then like for girls, for fame, there's a lot of like negative things that come with it, and like that people chase. But at the same time, the person it makes you, where you're able to handle hardships way more. You're able to just accept. When I'm not training, I'm not the same person. I'm not near as good of a person. Like maybe I'll get road rage, or like, you know, like I'm just more uneasy and I'm just maybe a little more rude. But I like get all my demons out training. Like I just feel so good. Like after a good session, like literally like someone could be like laying on the horn, like freaking out on me. I'm just like smile, wave. Like I'm just in such a good mood after training. It's like nothing can knock you down from those like highs. So I'd say like the person it makes you, like you can handle like anything that comes at you. Makes you a way better person. It's weird.
And that's a great way of explaining it too, because I feel that way too, you know. And again, that's why I kind of exude myself in the way I do, because when it comes to the fight, like I'm letting that whole guy go, you know. It's gonna let go, but at the end of it, it's like I'm so grateful and thankful and present in like myself that it's like all I want to exude is like, you know, I don't really want to exude anger or frustration or a lot of these other negative traits, you know, that we all deal with on a regular daily basis. But even in my training, I feel like it does help me with that as well. It's giving me hard things to overcome, frustrating moments to overcome, so that when we experience hardships in life, which we're going to do, like you said, your air conditioning going out, it's like for you to smile and say that and be like, oh, it's all good, and I jump in somebody else's car, is like that's something that's going to translate into all different things in your life, you know. So at any time, so many people get so hurt and their whole life just ends when one thing goes wrong in their life, and it's a mental space, right? And it's not that's not to shit on them or shame them or anything like that, but that's what happens. Mentally, we get broken by something, and then we just let it take our energy, take our peace, take our strength, you know. And by doing hard things and not letting those hard things take your energy, take your peace, take your strength, you build up that power bar, you know. And that power bar goes with you through your life. So I do think that's something that's probably helping you be as resilient as you are, because you're not even as active as you'd like to be, I would say, right? You'd like to even be more active if you could right now, you know. But like at your level and how good you are, it's hard to find fights, and that's the other thing people don't understand. Like as an amateur and as a pro, when you're at a certain level, it's hard to find people that are going to fight you outside of the big show, because they don't want to take big chances, you know. And in a big show, and if these shows aren't going to pay them money to fight you, they don't want to do it. So having the resilience to say, okay, not the outcome, which is the fight, right? Not the outcome. I'm going to show up every day, and I'm going to get better every single day, so that when that one guy does sign the contract, it doesn't matter, you know, like it doesn't matter. It's all going to show through no matter what, you know, because of everything else being put in, and keeping that resilience, because it's hard to decide to get up and go feel that way every day, feel defeated, feel beat, feel tired, feel fatigued, body tore up, and then do it with a smile, you know.
There's a lot of points that like I feel like have led to like a lot of different people saying like, you know, oh man, you're like kind of like spoiled, or how come you always get the good end of the stick, or
they say that to you?
Oh, wow. Or like how many times like, oh, like everyone always has to talk about you on a different level. I've done a lot of hard work, a lot of I wouldn't say dark things, but I put myself through a lot of different uncomfortable situations, was willing to do the things that no one else was willing to do, and do those things in the darkness. So when the light's shining on you, you do look good. Kind of like your fight, like you were talking about. You put X amount of time in, all this energy, all this for a minute 19 to be done and over with. But during that minute and 19, or during a service in here, during a busy hour or an event, you put yourself in a different category. Or when you're under that kind of pressure, or you're having a situation where it seems like you can't get out of, that's when you're buckling in, you're tightening down on yourself. You're betting on yourself to know that I am capable. I will persevere.
I showed up every day at this point where I'm not going to show up today.
100%.
I think it just gives you a little bit more freedom, and even in your daily life. Because again, for me, I'm very spiritual, and I feel like that's what my spiritual side of me gives me. Though it's like the freedom to know that if I show up for myself every single day, there's nothing that no day is a bad day. Doesn't matter if my AC goes out. Doesn't matter if my car is not working. Doesn't matter would these things be optimal to be working? Would it be optimal for me to be in a bigger house? Have both my bathrooms working? Would that be optimal? Because that's another thing. My whole 6-person family have been living off of one bathroom that works halfway right now.
Oh man!
Because I tore up my other bathroom because it was all beat up anyways and molding and all this other stuff. So I tore it up anyways and then didn't have enough money to fix it. So it's been just sitting there. But it's I was thinking about it the other day. I don't even think about it. It doesn't even. We have one bathroom. Some people would break down and be. Our washer is terrible, but we are so much more focused on all the other abundance that we have. And I think again, it comes through going through hard things, putting yourself through those hard things, and being able to say, "Man, life's still pretty good." Life's still pretty good. I'm still doing what I love to do with all the people I love to do it with, impacting people's life. Just going back to, for you in particular. I know that you went with Suga for his title fight,
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, he went with Suga. He was in his corner for Suga. And he was a great training partner for Suga this whole camp.
No way, really?
When I say that he's a human backpack, he is a human backpack, if this man gets you, I'm not going to give away his secret. Don't let this man grab you.
Don't let this man get his hands on you.
If he gets his hands on you, you have a long night, And Aljamain, that was Aljamain's biggest threat against O'Malley. Not to say again, I hate to make people sound like they're not great fighters. Aljamain's going to go down as one of the GOATs. I know we've talked about it multiple times. I have a lot of respect for what Aljamain's done, That being said, against a guy like Suga, you can't make mistakes on the feet, and Aljamain makes mistakes on the feet, right? And the biggest thing we were worried about is, again, him getting grabbed. And not that Sugar's not great on the ground. He's fantastic on the ground, too. But being a human backpack is hard, and he can attain to that. It's hard to do that, but he does it so effortlessly, So he was a great partner for him, and I feel like that was one of the biggest things. Saw him go out there and be a part of his corner,
That's what's up.
as an amateur fighter too. So how has that how has that translated to you now? A couple weeks removed from it.
So, I think the whole experience now, it's almost like the fight night was like a dream. It's it was so crazy. There's so much emotions, watching one of your friends win the world title, accomplish lifelong goal. I felt like I did my best to emulate Aljo in his camp, and I think I did a pretty good job of giving good looks and helping him. And then, grateful to Suga for taking me out there. He's kind of taken me under his wing too, and he's helped me a lot, in so many ways. I could honestly go on about it for a long time, but going out there and getting to just see everything, So right now I'm amateur. I got one more amateur fight, and then I'm gonna go pro. And I think things will go fast for me. I think once I go pro, I'm gonna run through some guys, and I'm gonna get.
That's what's up.
I think I'm gonna get through pretty quick, but. Getting to see world title, how his whole week lead up was, how he is in the back, how he does his weight cut, what he eats during the week, the media, getting to watch it all, and watching him train the days leading into the fight, talking game plan, just everything. It was pretty crazy, especially the performance he had. It's watching something like that. It's kind of like a once in a lifetime kind of magical moment, kind of like when Conor knocked out Aldo. I know everyone's putting the edits together, the same thing, but it kind of is one of those moments where that was something really special. That's once in a lifetime. You don't see stuff like that, especially being him winning the belt. it's not a title defense. It's the original time winning it. First time touching your hand on UFC gold and being there for that and, you know, getting experience it's literally priceless.
That's amazing. That exposure is insane. So can I ask, like, how does this, I'm going to back up a little bit. So how does this happen where, like, you got chosen to be part of the fight camp or to emulate Sterling, right? Like, how does that choice happen? Like you know, like, I mean, the only way I could explain it is like scout team defense when I played football, right? Like, we had a specific player be chosen to play like the running back because, like, is that just it's because your wrestling background? Is that why you got chosen?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say it's just that Aljo, he's a little shorter than me, but he's kind of long, strong.
Okay.
Good wrestler, really good on the back, and I just kind of have the same attributes. I'm a little different than him. Like, he usually fights orthodox, but he did fight some southpaw. I'm mostly southpaw, but he got knocked out in
That's
southpaw.
That's where he made his mistake at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I mean,
so who chose you, if that makes sense?
I would say probably Tim, which is Sugar's main coach.
Oh, okay.
So I'd say just Ezra. I've trained with him a lot, so it's like Ezra, you kind of already got a style like him, and I wasn't the only partner.
With him as well.
Yeah.
So it boils down to multiple things. Like, even for me, like, I'm gonna usually grab and hopefully I'm gonna try to put my whole camp around the guys that can emulate the person that I'm fighting the best, essentially, right?
Okay.
And people that I work with, like me and Kyler have worked together for a long time, and mostly because we both have styles where we can emulate a lot of different people's styles, right? So we can give that look of different people. So that's why we work together in each other's corner really well. But that's what you want to do. You want to grab somebody that you know that you can trust, that's going to be able to train with you correctly, smartly, so that you can be healthy, but it's also going to give you the correct look that you need for your fight. Because it's one thing, like, if Suge has me as his partner for this one, and I'm coming out and I'm striking, and I'm like,
let's
we're
go.
all clean and smooth and switching stances. It's like, okay, but that's not the guy he's fighting.
That's not Sterling. I got you.
That's not what Aljo's doing. It's not what Sterling's going to do, you know? And that, so it's like, it's not going to benefit him. So again, I think it also benefit Ezra as well. I think Suge realized that as well. I think Suge has, like I said, has taken you under his wing, and he's being a great mentor. And I think more of us should be doing that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Leading into that, I think, like, I read this quote the other day, and it was awesome. It was like something like, men need 3 things in life to be happy, right? And they need to have a mentor, basically, somebody who to look up to, somewhere to look up to where they want to be, essentially. They need somebody who's on the same level as them, somebody to compete against, somebody to go through the problem with, and they need somebody to pull up, somebody who they can give back to, who they can make the path not necessarily easy, because we don't want it to be easy, but we want them to be able to make better decisions earlier on, right?
Yep.
Like, I love the fact that the decisions that you've been able to make, not because it was easier for you to make those decisions, but you made those decisions. It was just the same easy for me to have made the decisions that you have made, right? But I chose not to make those decisions. I chose not to decide to wrestle. I chose not to decide to move to where I needed to move to be doing. I chose to have kids and do these things. I made other decisions, right? And it's making those decisions as early as you possibly can with the best knowledge that you can, right? So I think that should kind of, I think that was a big part, like, to have you along with him for that. I think it meant a lot to him. I mean, that's just me saying it, knowing a little bit about Suge and just knowing him, but I do think it meant a lot to him to have you there as well, to be a part of the team. Because if you think about it, who else has he brought with him for any of his fights in his last, like, 6 fights?
Yeah, I know. It is kind of, crazy. I feel like we've built a good relationship where he's helped me with, like, a lot of things. Like I said, I could go on for a long time about literally he's done so much for me. I couldn't thank him enough. So it's been a relationship of, like, I'm doing my best helping him, and he reciprocates it, but I'd say it's tenfold because he can give a lot more to me than I can even give to him.
Yeah, but you are giving to him.
That's powerful, man.
You are, and I think you were a great decision for him as well. And I think it does based off of those things too. Not to say, like, because that's the thing. Like, we have to be willing to be used. Yes, we're getting used. Like, that's what it is. Like, use me, and that's what I honestly, like, my prayers are a lot of like that. Like, use me. People are so afraid of being used, right? That's what we're here to do. We're here to be used, and through being used, we're going to develop skills that we can use, and then teach other people and use other people so they can use skills too, because that's how growth happens, right? But we're so afraid. Everyone's like, oh, you're being used. Use me.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
Use me. I'll find the benefit inside of that use, you know, or I'll find that it's not for me and move forward. But it's good, like that. It's good to be used that way, and then also be able to reciprocate it emotionally, physically, all those things. Like it is being reciprocated, and I know he does see that as well. And it was cool for me on the outside to see him take you, and just to see you be able to experience that and where you are inside of your experience right now, inside of your journey. It was actually really cool. So.
That's powerful. Dude.
And I do think, again, that's something I'm happy to hear, too, because I do think more of us should do that. More of us need to be giving back to young men. I think there's a big deficit in young men. A lot of men aren't making decisions that you're making right now. And, again, it's still hard even what you're doing. But a lot of young men are in it's a weird world that we live in right now, you know. It's a weird world that we live in that it will pull you all over the place, you know. And I think it's harder for them to navigate. And I think more of us should be looking downward and going, not looking downward in a way like, oh, I'm over you, but looking downward in a way like, hey, I've been there. I know those feelings. Like, I felt that. I've been through every emotion. Nipsey Hussle said it the best, you know. I had to go through every emotion. And I think we all do need to go through every emotion. But it's really, really nice to have somebody there that you can look up to, that you can be like, oh, yeah, he went through every emotion too.
100%.
Because Suge's story is similar to your story. Montana boy, he didn't even wrestle, you know. Came down here with Tim. Tim was trying to get in the UFC, hadn't even gotten in the UFC yet. People forget about that. I remember when he first showed up to the gym, no one was like, oh yeah, this is Sugar who's going to be the champion of the world, have all these branding deals. No one looked at him like that. And I'm guaranteeing people were saying things to him, which you guys probably should not. If you're listening to this and you talk to young kids, don't tell them that they are like, there's a better way to go about telling people that they fall short than just saying terrible things, you know. But it's cool that your resilience kept you going, because I think that's the biggest thing too right now. A lot of guys aren't resilient enough to take some type of news like that and go, okay, well, I'm going to do what I can do, and I'm going to do what I can do 100%. Maybe I can't do what you said. Maybe you're right, but that doesn't mean I can't do all these other things and can't be great because of all these other things, you know? So, yeah, it's really cool. I think that more of us should be doing it. I can't wait for you to get there, because I know that you're going to do it too, just based off of, like, what you're experiencing right now and how you're feeling and how you're admirable about that. Like, it's nice. It's nice.
That's exactly the point. That's exactly the point. On what you said, pulling somebody up, what Suge did for him and how he's taken it is kind of where future leaders are developing. That willingness to understand what Suge did for him, and what he's noticing is because somebody did it for you. Someone did it for me, and I took that in a different way, which allowed me to become the person I am. But then as I'm bringing up somebody, I'm seeing somebody who has the potential, has the greatness, be better than I will ever be in many aspects of life. Seeing that from him, right? Because I mean, I'm guessing his amateur career is going very successfully.
Very successfully.
So now that he's gaining all this exposure, but he's also like, he's knocking it in his head to saying like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. No one else will ever get this but me. I'm the one that was chosen for this. He's already steps above where he thinks he is right now, if that makes sense.
And not even in an egotistical type of way, though. More in like in a stoic type of manner. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is where my heart is set, and this is what's happening.
Exactly.
Right. It's not like, oh, and that's the difference. I think that plays a big part as well. It's where you put it out with energy. You put it out there too.
So how about this amateur career? Where are you at? Like, how many amateur fights have you had? What have you? Yeah. So you said one more, then you're going pro. I mean, how does that happen? Like, do they decide? Like, I'm sorry, I don't know what's part of the game, but.
So, well, right now I have 3 fights, and I got one in a few weeks from now. I think like 3 weeks out right now. But basically, just talking with Crouch, who's our coach. You know, he's the main guy, kind of steering the ship, and we had talked about going pro after the last fight, and then maybe he was like, I think we should do one more, and then I was like, okay, we'll do one more, and then someone go out here, get a finish on this next kid, and then get to the pros and you know, start stapling my name.
So go ahead.
There is like a little like that for the state though, right? So different states have different rules though.
Yeah.
Normally the state wants you to have at least 6 amateur fights.
Yes.
Why is that?
That's what most of them. That's a number that they throw out there for you to be skilled enough for you to. Okay. It's not real. You know, again,
some of them have 0. Like Bryce has none.
Yeah.
Bryce had no amateur fights. He's 4-0 pro.
Just went straight pro.
What?
100%. And I do think collegiate wrestling has a big part in that as well. But even as a collegiate wrestler, you can still come back and have multiple amateur fights before you go pro, and a lot of guys will do that, and I think it's best too. I think even coach had me stay amateur for a long time to make sure I built up because when we go pro, it matters. It's like, don't lose your fights.
I got you.
It matters so much more in MMA not to lose. It does. And you don't want to be able, especially a guy like Ezra, he's not going to be able to pick fights. He's going to have to fight whoever they send his way. And that's because nobody's going to want to fight him. That's just what it boils down
Fair.
to. People are,
Okay.
they're going to be hard. Like, especially his first couple fights, he'll get a couple guys, but you go out there and you do the guys like he did the guys in his amateur career so far, it's going to be the same way. Guys,
So he's dominant.
100% dominating guys out there as an amateur.
Yeah, that's what
I'd say.
So these last 4 amateur fights, you've set out and accomplished what you needed to do, pretty much.
Yeah, well, it was my first amateur fight. I had to finish in like a minute, and then my second fight, I had a tough kid from Vegas, trains at a big gym in Vegas, and he was a tough kid. And I ended up having a decision win against him, but I got pushed, and he was pretty good.
Which is what you want to do as an amateur.
Yeah.
So that was good.
And then my last fight, I finished the guy like a minute 30, and then this fight.
And I'd say the guy he finished in a minute 30. I'm impressed by that kid. I'm super impressed by that kid that he finished in a minute 30. So I don't take that minute and 30 lightly. I've told that kid that I'm impressed by him, and you already know I'm impressed by you. That's not a surprise at all. But no, 100%. Like he has been passing these tests, but all these things you want to go through as amateur, and then only being 23 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Why rush it? That's the biggest thing too. He could either rush it and try to be a young UFC guy, or he could take his time, get into UFC, go get a UFC belt, stay at in the UFC his whole career, right? It's making those type of decisions. Like, again, some people rush it too fast, and I think that's why we have one of the best coaches in the world. It's because he won't let our ego get ahead of us. Yeah, you're great. Yeah, you're a brown belt. Yeah, all this stuff. What's one more amateur fight going to hurt you if you're all those things, right?
Yeah.
But in our head, we're like, no,
I want it.
No, what do you mean? I'm killing these guys. Oh, bro, I'll smash, But it's like, yeah, but what's one more amateur fight then?
Yeah, and also I think what's going to be nice too is like doing one more. Wait a few months, do my first pro fight. Since I am young, I'm not in a hurry. It's not going to be a rush. So like once I go pro, it's not like I need to be like, oh, I need to get fight. It's like I'm spending a lot of time in the room getting better in between each fight, and still, because we fight like 3 times a year. That's going to be like 2-3 months in between of each fight, probably not even being in camp, of just improving, because I'm in the room 2 times a day at a camp. And honestly, my schedule doesn't change much. I just do a little more cardio when I'm in camp, just getting ready for the fight. But outside that, I'd say out of camp I do a little more skills training and just like slowing it down and really dialing in. So just a lot of improvement in a lot of time. So like being young, that's what I think's nice, is I don't feel rushed. I'm not in a rush to get anywhere. It's gonna come when it comes.
That's great, man.
And that's another reason why I think that he should take another amateur pro. And I think that's why coach actually told you that too, is because what's the rush? You're getting better. That's just going to be you getting over the nerves of going into the fight for another amateur, performing at that level, it not having to affect your pro fighting skills or anything like that. And I think coach got the right idea too. He was telling us the whole time, I'm looking for the best bantamweight amateur in the whole nation.
Yeah.
I'm just looking. That's what he's been saying, and he means it. He didn't say that lightly. That's what he wants. That's what he wants for Ezra. He wants the best bantamweight in the whole nation, so that Ezra gets the test that he needs at amateur. Which I honestly, again, with these tests you never know, but I think that he's going to pass the test with flying colors and more spectacular than we believe. But again, there's those 3-round battles and wars that you never expect. That are some of the best things for us, though. Some of the best moments for us to find out about ourselves, and it's way better to find that out as an amateur than find that out as a pro. So I definitely think that, again, from the outside in, I love everything that you're doing. It's been great to have
for sure.
you be a part of the team and be a part of you and, and watch it all go down, Another thing is, too, we didn't talk about it, too. He just, ADCC is one of, like, the most reputable grappling competitions, right? Yeah. And that's what I was saying. Oh, he just killed all these black belts. Well, he just went and just destroyed it at opens, man.
What?
And we all know he's great. We all do, and I knew it, too.
That's crazy, man.
But he got 4 Darces, if I'm...
Yeah, so I had 1 rear naked and then 3 Darces, 1 decision.
You know how hard that is to do at the ADCC Open against black belts?
Yeah.
What? He's a purple belt. He's a purple belt right now.
Oh, all right. So okay, I'm going to skip. Where is this fight and when is it? I want to go watch this. When and where? When and where? Tell them.
I think it's in Houston. It's in
Okay.
it's in Texas, September 24th.
Fury. Oh, you're going with, all right.
Oh,
Going with Reborn
headlining,
King.
yeah.
Going with Abdul, man. That's going to be a great night for the MMA Lab.
Reborn
Huh?
King.
I'm going to have to go ahead and take a flight down there myself, too, man. You guys got me intrigued.
That is. Wait, so when was this open? How long ago was this?
Like I'd say it's probably 3 weeks ago now.
Oh, this
It
is
was
fresh.
the same week. Well, no, it was the weekend before my. Wasn't the weekend before my fight?
It was the weekend Kyler fight. It was about 4 weeks. Yeah, 1 month.
It was August 4th, right?
Where was this at?
I think the 6th.
6th? Was it the
or
6th?
5th or something? Yeah.
something like that. That was here. It was here in
It was
Phoenix.
here?
Yeah, it was
it
in
was here.
Phoenix.
Yeah,
Dog.
ADCC.
It's
So
a tournament, yeah.
It's a great. It's a grappling, straight grappling tournament. I mean, it's world renowned. ADCC. Like if you're in ADCC, it means that you have great grappling and you're very big into the jiu-jitsu world. So it was cool to have it out here because I think that was the first time you had it here in AZ. Or
Well, so that's an open. So like it's not the trial. 'Cause the trial. So there's the ADCC championship, which is like what Taquino won.
Okay.
Which is like it's the whole world. Okay, and then there's the trials. And I think they split the trials West Coast, so everything on the west side of the U.S. and then East Coast, everything on the. So they split the U.S. in half basically.
Okay.
But the Arizona Open was a lot of guys from California, a lot of guys from Texas. The guy beating the finals trains under Gordon Ryan. Gordon Ryan's his coach, and John Danaher. He was a 16-year-old. He's just prodigy. He was really good. Best guy I versed in the bracket. And the guy beating the semis was a young kid too, and he was trained at B Team with like Craig Jones. But these guys, they're homeschooled. All they do is do jiu-jitsu all day. That's all they do. And then the other guys were black belts, been black belts for years, or they have their own academy and stuff. And then those were the guys I had earlier in the tournament. So
did you qualify for something?
it's a seeding thing. So like they do it for like seeding points. So like last time I looked, right now I got the number 1 seed for the actual ADCC trial outside of former competitors. So I think all former competitors, it's like 30 people. They'll all be seated ahead of me still because they've qualified for the actual world championships before. But outside that, I got the top seed. So
And for open still, right? So it's
For
still
opens,
for
yeah.
open. So it'll still be mostly for most people.
So
Black
when does
belts
this
are
whole
getting that.
So as this develops, what's down the pipeline for this particular this tournament, if you will?
So there's the ADCC championship, which is like, it's like the Olympics of jiu-jitsu. It comes every 2 years. It's like super big deal. Taquino's like he trained with us. He was on the fight team and stuff, and he's retired now. But he won it, and he's like one of the best. He's probably the greatest 145 jiu-jitsu athlete ever.
And he's training you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I've got a lot of work with him and stuff. So I mean, we got really good guys, you know.
So when is this
That's where-
championship? Sorry.
That's where Tim has his black belt under, right?
Yeah.
Under Tanquino as well, which I know he goes and cross trains with them a lot over there. I keep on saying I'm gonna make my way over there, but I'm so weird about training at different gyms. Coaches got me all freaking stuck on that, man. I just need to get my butt over there and do it. But no, it's awesome. Yeah, I guess so. Tanquino's been a part of our team for a long time. Was in the UFC.
Yeah.
I mean, jiu-jitsu is nuts. Top pressure is
That's
nuts.
crazy.
Everything. You
Yeah.
can't, I mean,
He's the best.
yeah, you catch him. You can't. Yeah, just don't.
So when's the championship for this thing? When is this going down?
I actually think it's next year, the
Oh, it's next
championship.
year.
Yeah, the championship's next year, but the qualifier is in October, I think, for
Okay.
the East Coast, and then West Coast is, I think, maybe February.
So
of
February,
next
we
year.
need to be watching out for your name for the qualifier, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then if you get qualified, then you go to the Olympics of the whole thing.
basically, yeah.
That is badass, dude.
Crazy, man.
Who's this kid, man? You bringing assassins in
I know,
here, man? Come
what
on
can
now.
I say? What can I say, man?
You guys
Just
assassins
pop-
at this lab.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
The most calm, collected assassins. That's the best. That's
Literally.
the best assassins.
That's
to
part of
have.
the
100%.
amendments of the assassin.
Yeah, but and it's just growing, right? 23 years
amazing.
old. It's crazy to think the game is like that. 23 years old, and he's on a mission. So it's great to see it. It's great to see young men getting after it,
Yep.
and chasing their goals, chasing their dreams with humility. You know what I'm saying?
Good men like you leading the way.
100% though, that's what we have to do. Keep on adding to that, because it's a great thing to see, man. It's good. We all have to have a slight bit of ego, but humility is what gets you there. In those moments where you think you're the toughest guy in the world and you stomp your toe on the side of the bed, and you're like, oh, oh, I'm just a human being. What do you mean? I forgot. I bleed just like everyone else. Damn it.
Paper cuts, man.
100%. No, but I absolutely love watching your journey, man. I'd love to be a part of your journey. So it's been great having you on the show. I've been wanting to have you on for a while. If you want to tell the people where they can reach you at social media wise, anything you got going on, let them know about, you know, your fight coming up soon too. Maybe they can get some ticket sales out there.
All right, so on Instagram at Ezra__Elliot. It's my Instagram. I don't have Twitter or X now. That's it.
Just Instagram.
So just Instagram.
Catch him on Instagram. That's gonna change shortly. Watch, I'm telling you, he's taking notes over here. You can't be kicking it with Sugar and not have a YouTube page, and you gotta.
It's coming up. I'll put it in my Instagram bio. I'll have it linked up.
There we go. That's what I'd like to hear. All right. Well, so did we already do it? Yeah, we already did the free high fives. We already did it. Let's give another one. Anyways. Finish it off with I get one for you too. All right, let's go. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.